Okay, so Le'ilui Nishmat Yechiel Yisrael Michael ben Paula Harai, and also Le'ilui Nishmat Eliyahu ben Chana Doktori. Baruch Hashem Tamachenu Gan Eden. B'zchut kol tzaddikim, in the merit of all the true tzaddikim, Bezrat Hashem, that are in the world right now, and also all the tzaddikim that have passed on. Shuchni Afar Kedoshim Shabar Tzimah Bifrad Rabbeinu HaKadosh Tzadik Yisod Olam Nachal Nevei Mekor Chachma Rabbeinu Nachman Ben Fege Zechutam Yagen Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael Amen. Okay, Chevra, so Mamish, again, first of all, it's a huge zechut to get together to learn Sifrei Rabbeinu. It's Mamish, these are Dvarim Ha'omdim Beruma Shel Olam. These are things that are Mamish on the highest of levels, teachings of Rabbi Nachman. We have no idea to what degree it has an effect, not only in our lives, not only to battle with the Yetzer Hara in our lives, but on a global scale. To learn these teachings is of tremendous potency. You know, the Rebbe said that he said that I am an otzar, a treasure house of Yirat Shemayim, and I can testify. There's many teachings in my life that at times when I wasn't so strong, like I wasn't looking to establish the most intimate connection with Hashem, I wasn't really holding to grow on that level, I was able to learn other Svarim. But when it came to Svarim of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, it was like almost too much. Why? Because it's very personal. Every piece in the Likutei Moharan, in Sichot Haran, in from Reb Natan that you learn, it pulls out your heart. That's the difference between learning teachings of Breslov and other teachings. The name Breslov, actually, the Rebbe, when he said that he wanted to name this Chassidut Breslov, being that it's the name of the city, but it also has a deeper meaning, that it can spell out, when you change the letters, also Shin and Samach in the Gemara, they're known as being interchangeable. So it spells out Lev Basar, to have a heart of flesh, meaning, like the Navi said, to remove the Lev Ha'even, the heart of stone, the insincerity, the unaffiliation to Torah and mitzvot, the feeling that I have a heart of stone, that I'm not connecting to Hashem properly, to change that, to make that a Lev Basar, to have a heart of flesh, that we could feel the mitzvot and we can connect. So with that being said, now we're mamish like in Elul, and you know, it's like in our times it's much more of a Rahmanut, it's a Rahmanis, because you know, we're in a type of exile, we're in a type of galut, that on a certain level it's a big slumber. It's like a slumber party, like everyone's sleeping. The whole world is on a certain level, in a level of tardema. Everyone's busy with distractions so much that it's very hard to focus. And now more than ever, the Yetzer Hara has made it in such a way that constantly a Jew is being pulled from one temptation to the next, you know, from one form of imagination to the next, that it's very hard to grasp onto one's soul. Again, that's why Rabbi Nachman stresses that you should know all the tikkunim that one is looking to accomplish. A lot of people want to do tshuva, especially this time. People want to come back, they're reading Tehillim, they're trying to awaken themselves. Rabbeinu Nachman of Breslov says all the tikkunim get accomplished from everything that you had to fix from the time of Adam Harishon till now, till Mashiach comes. He says is accomplished through the most simple thing possible, through setting time just to talk to God in your own simple words. All the tikkunim, you don't have to chase, you don't have to roll in snow, you don't have to fast for 50 days, you don't have to do all these tikkunim and self-mortification. It's the most simplest thing. Just set time to chill with God. That's it. It's an unbelievable thing. And Rabbeinu Nachman has wrote letters, Maimarim. You know, he's become hoarse in the voice to explain this to us, that how it's such an unbelievable thing. And it's unbelievable that we see that nevertheless the Yetzer Hara still makes it so impossible for us to be able to do this. It makes it that there's so much more important things we have to do. Okay, I'll do this, then I'll do it after this, then I'll get time. If I have time, maybe. It's the most important thing. Sometimes we have to put our chachma on the side and just be simple. Simplicity, and to follow what the Rebbe is saying in a very simple way. So actually simplicity is something that I'd like to speak to tonight to us Chavra, and Amir Hashem, for us to come with an approach, how we can approach this coming Rosh Hashana using the advice of Rabbi Nachman in a real way, that we can, Amir Hashem, have a tremendous aliyah. Simplicity. So what does simplicity mean? In a certain sense, it means narrowing things down. Like when a person, they teach in meditation that to clear one's mind, if one can, to clear everything out of one's mind and to have something, whatever it may be, whatever meditation you're learning under, to focus on one specific thing. Now Rav Kook explains in his writings that there is a lot of interference when we look at something. There's so much going on in our minds, and actually even in our vision, that we don't fully see things the way it's supposed to be, right? Like it says in the Gemara that when Mashiach comes and a Jew is supposed to pick a fruit from a tree, it says in the future when Mashiach comes, the tree is going to scream Shabbat. A person's going to, on Shabbos, he's going to be walking by an apple tree, he's going to want to pick a fruit, let's say. All of a sudden he's going to hear the tree say Shabbos, Shabbos. So what does that mean? It's like Lord of the Rings, all of a sudden the tree's going to start talking, what's going to be? So the Sfarim explain what that means, or if Cook explains that there's a certain harmony in creation when a person can fully see like a tree in its full revelation. For example, let's say you take a flower right now and you're looking at a flower, Rav Kook explains, you're not seeing the full beauty of the flower. Why? Because there's still interference between your vision and the spark of Hashem, the spark, the nitzot, the spark of Kedusha that's keeping that flower in existence, that's being exposed, that's coming through your eyes and registering in your brain. Right? For example, how do we know this? Because when a person, let's say he wants to meditate, if you close your eyes, and Ari Kaplan speaks about this in Jewish meditation, that if you close your eyes at a certain point in the day, even when your eyes are closed, you'll notice like things moving, like blobs, things, like images sometimes. There's a lot going on, right? Even when your eyes are closed, even when it's dark. Why? Because that's things that's taking place in our mind, things that we've been exposed to during the day that we haven't completely cleared away, right? So in a certain sense, simplicity means taking everything, not just in terms of vision, but taking everything out of the way, right? And just focusing on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, being simple with God, right? There's different types of circles of ethnic cultures that have this concept in certain ways in their culture, that everyone should get together and to focus on something. Sometimes by other people it could be avodah zarah, but there's a concept of moving other things away and focusing on something and dedicating yourself to that. That has a big role on in our lives and on Rosh Hashanah specifically. The tzaddik, Rabbi Nachman explains in Torah Ayin Zayin in Likutei Moharan, I believe in the second volume of Likutei Moharan, Rabbi Nachman explains that sometimes the tzaddik has to act completely simple, without any Torah, without any sophistication. He almost acts like he's schmoozing. He's just talking about current events. He's like, hanging out. He's just chilling, So, and you're wondering, like, what's going on? Because this is a huge tzaddik, right? Huge makubal. All of a sudden, he's just like schmoozing, and So he says that Rabbi Nachman explains that sometimes the tzaddik has to act completely simple, like without any Torah. Why? in order to help people that are in the world that don't have any Torah. That means, after Matan Torah, after we received the Torah at Har Sinai, something changed. That the divine influence that we're connected now to Hashem has to come through the medium of Torah. Meaning, when a person's learning, he's connected to Torah, he's receiving straight from a high level of sustenance, and he's keeping himself in existence. So what happens when a person's not connected to Torah? Right? What happens? What happens to the majority of the world that we see that aren't plugged into Torah? So Rabbi Nachman says that when the tzaddik acts simple, when he acts completely simple, without any Torah, almost seemingly like maybe even childish sometimes, he says what he's doing now is that he's entering that place and he's taking the shefa from this high place it's called the treasure house of unearned gifts, and he's taking from that place and he's now distributing it to the world, to people that are on the level that they can't connect to Torah. And we learned about this once in the Likutei Moharan together. So let's see how this is connected to Rosh Hashana. Okay, it's Hashana. Okay, so the top of the page, and when it says Ches, if you look, it's actually extra copies here. Okay, so it says like this: Rosh Hashana, Hu Yom Rishon LaAseret Yemei Tshuva. Rosh Hashana is the first of the 10 days of Tshuva. Ve'ikar HaTeshuva, and the main thing of Tshuva. What's the main thing of Tshuva? Right? That's why we're getting together. Actually, Rabbi Natan over here, he's taking this based on Rabbeinu's teachings, and he explains as follows: Ve'ikar HaTeshuva hu rak al yedei hachesed chinam hazeh shebo nivra ha'olam. It's from this complete kindness that from that Hashem created the world. Rabbi Nachman says as follows. He says that if we know the Torah, ki hem chayenu, it is our life, and our life is bound with the Torah, then how did we all exist before the Torah was given? The Torah was given at a certain point, right? But before the Torah was given, how was the world in existence? So Rabbi Nachman says it was from complete chesed chinam, just complete kindness. Just complete kindness. That's the Kila Olam Chazdos we say in davening on Shacharit on Shabbat. We say 26 times Kila Olam Chazdo, corresponding to the 26 generations that existed before Matan Torah. So he says, so what's the Ikar of Rosh Hashana? The Ikar of Rosh Hashana and the Ikar of Teshuvah is connecting back to that chesed chinam, to that free love of God that He created the world from. Va'al kain, therefore, right? Sarichim l'nesoa l'tzadikim amitzim al Rosh Hashanah. That's why it's very important, if one can, to travel to the true tzadikim on Rosh Hashanah. Why? Kizeh ha-chesed chinam, because this chesed chinam, and by the way, I just want to say, even if one is not able to travel to the tzaddik himself, at least also to hold himself to the tzaddik. Like the Baal Shem Tov says, that a person is where his machshavot are. So if you are steadfast and you say that I am with the true tzaddik, wherever I may be, then indeed that could be a bechina of that place, that a person could draw the kedusha of that place. I knew from big Breslovers that when they couldn't make it to Uman for Rosh Hashanah, they would take a sefer, like a Rabbi Nachman's Wisdom or a sefer in Hebrew, and they would mamish during davening. They would like hold on to it, so that they can just something symbolizing that Hashem, I want to be with this tzaddik. It has a tremendous power, you should know. So why? But why is there a thing like on Rosh Hashana and Tzaddikim? Why dafka do we need? Is there a special hadgasha? There's a special thing that we should try and make an effort to connect to the true Tzaddikim on Rosh Hashana? He says, Ki zeh hachesed chinam ein mi sheyamshich oto ba'olam ki im hatzadikei emet hagdolim b'mala. Because there is no one that can transfer this chesed chinam, this free love, without any judgment. You know, the angels could be like, he doesn't deserve it. There is a special treasure house in the heavens for people that don't deserve it. It says, there's a medrash about it. There's a special otsar. Who can use that otsar? Only tzaddikim like Moshe Rabbeinu. Tzaddikim amitzim on that level. They're the only people that have access to this chesed chinam. Shehem mamshichin zeh hachesed beit pshitutam. They draw this love, this divine flow of God, specifically when they're acting simple. Right? Ubezeh hem machayin et hapshutim shebaolam. And through this, they're machaya all of the simpletons in the world. All people that don't have Torah, that don't have anything in their lives. That's how they're receiving sustenance. It's from the tzaddik drawing it into the world when he's acting simple. Hein, who is under this category? Let's see. Hein anashim pshutim mamash. Whether if it's completely simple people, they don't know how to learn, they don't know how to daven. You know, I was once in Berdichev. I was also to be in Berdichev, and there's a shul over there. It's run by a few Skver Hasidim now, and I went there from Mincha. You know, they said they have a minyan from Mincha. I was like, okay, yeah, let's see who comes. You know, it's interesting. Who lives in Berdichev besides these like few rabbis? So you know, you hear in the stories, you know, in the times of Baal Shem Tov, that there were like simple farmers, you know, that they like mamish wouldn't know how to learn. They hardly would know how to daven either. You know, you hear about them in the stories if you read about them. So I mamish saw them. Like they showed up, like these like mamish old farmer guys, you know, with boots, you know, like mud on their boots. They're cleaning it before they come in, and they come in shul, and I'm telling you, they didn't even know how to hold the siddur, like this way, that way. The only thing I saw, most of them, they just stood there with a smile in shul, just smiling at Hashem, and the only thing they knew was how to say Amen Yehei Shmei Rabba. That was it. They said Amen Yehei Shmei Rabba. They didn't know how to daven. You know what I mean? Like it says in the Gemara that the Chazan should repeat Shemona Esrei and have in mind the people that, you know, they don't have Sidurim or that they don't know how to daven. This was mamish. This was the case. It was an amazing thing. So simple people. The Rebbe is saying, how if after Har Sinai Hashem made the decree Kihem Chayenu, you should receive your life from the Torah. So what about people that can't learn? So how do they receive their life? So there's a reason why the tzaddik has to act simple. And if you read the life of Rabbi Nachman, certain times, you know, when the Rebbe was traveling to Eretz Yisrael, you know, there was places that he stopped. He acted so simple, like his Gabbai couldn't believe it. There was a place, I think it was Istanbul, I forgot where it was, but at a certain point, you know, the Rebbe was like, he was like playing with kids. What?
When he got off the dock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, like you know, pretending like he's shooting and you know. Right, exactly. That's an unbelievable thing. You know, there's deep things what's going on that we don't get. You know, why the tzaddik has to act simple. You know what I mean? Like it's an unbelievable thing, and it's through that when the tzaddik is acting simple, Reb Nassan is revealing that there's something flowing into the world. The tzaddik is like a conduit. He transfers energy into the world. So he's not just acting simple, he's acting simple b'kavana, with intention that now I want to access that place of simplicity and I want to connect the light of abundance of Hashem into all those simple people that are in the world, that are looking to receive sustenance. The way the world existed before the Torah was given. Just complete chesed chinam, just love. Rosh Hashana. That's the thing, when the world was created, tapping into that love, remembering on Rosh Hashana, it's all about the chesed chinam. And this love, this light of Hashem is being transferred everywhere. And just to connect to that positivity without sophistication. You know what I mean? On the day of Rosh Hashanah, that's not the day we have to make all these, there's a lot of shiurim out there that the big rabbanim will stand and you got to really break yourself, and Rosh Hashana, Mom, you got to feel like, Hashem Yirachim, It's true, it's a pachad, it's true. I'm not denying that. Someone said that, can't you speak about that a little bit? There's such a fear these days, like everyone's like, it's almost Rosh Hashanah, like everyone's like freaking out. The truth is, like, it is a little freaky, I'll be honest with you. I mean, like, let's say a person's getting judged, let's say he knows he has to stand in front of a dayan, in front of a judge. It's a little bit of a feeling, right? You feel a little bit like, whoa, but like, imagine if you're standing in front of a judge and it's for like your life. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's mamish, like, whoa squared, right? So in a certain sense, it is intense. It's the Yom Hadin. But on the other hand, the way, the avoda, what the Rebbe wants from us is to realize, to make life simple. Simplicity. That's what we're after. Connect to the Chesed Chinam, the simple love of Hashem, just shining through. No sophistication. I don't need details. I just want the Melech. I just want you. I just want to love you and connect to you. And if a person taps into that, healing gets transferred everywhere. Just like the tzaddik himself, when he acts simple, the light from the deepest place, from the Otzar Matnas Chinam, from the treasure house of unearned gifts, gets transferred into all the simple people. And he said that means not only the simple people, but let me just read on. It says, V'talmidei chachamim also. It doesn't mean just them. It also means vafilu harachokim ma'Torah magushim ma'od. Even people that are completely far from the Torah, completely, and they're very physical people. They're running after ta'avot and temptations and things like this, right? Even them, they get connected. Hein halomdim v'talmidei chachamim be'et shebetelim ma'Torah, or whether if it's tremendous scholars, rabbis that are connected to learning, but they're not learning for some reason at that time. They're not, a person can't learn 24 hours a day. He's got to do stuff, he's got to take care of himself. He's got to, So what about that? So at those times, that's when this Chesed Chinam is being transferred. That's the only way that these people are in existence. Umachmat sheberosh Hashana shetzarichem hakol lashuv. Since it's needed that on Rosh Hashana that we all want to do teshuvah, we all want to come back, come to our source. Ki ein tzaddik ba'aretz asher yaseh tov v'lo yachta. There is no person, there is no tzaddik in the world that has just done good and he has not sinned ever. So we all want to do tshuva. And ve'ikar ha'tshuva, it's already up in lights. Ve'ikar ha'tshuva, it's beautiful words. It's so fundamental, and that's why I love Breslov Shiur. Hu bekoach hapshitus ha'amiti shel tzaddik amet. It's from the simplicity of the true tzaddikim when they're acting simple, and also in our lives when we're simplifying our lives and we're davening in that sense of like just connecting to the source. Al ken tzarichim lenesoa aleim al Rosh Hashana. Therefore, there's an inyan to travel to the tzaddikim and to connect to them on Rosh Hashana. Again, a person might not, chas v'shalom, earn like what is the abundance that he's supposed to be getting, or the abundance that he's looking to get in his life, but in the merits of connecting to the true tzaddikim, a person can get there. A person can receive those things. There was a story one time with one of the Admorim, one of the Rebbes that survived the Holocaust, that actually made it. He came to America. His name was the Breslov Rebbe. And the Breslov Rebbe was one time, it's an unbelievable thing. You should know, Chaver, that first of all, the Satmar Rebbe said that he was once going upstate for the summer, and the Hasidim they were in Brooklyn. They were like, Rebbe, you're not going to be around. Who can we get a bracha from if you're away? Like, leave us like a deputy or something. Like, so he said that you want a bracha from someone. He says if you ever go to shul and you see a yid roll up his sleeves, and if you see, to put on tefillin, and if you see like he has numbers on his arm, he says you can get a bracha from him. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm not around, don't worry. Meaning, like, we have no idea. Yidden that survived this thing called the Holocaust, we have no idea, like, I mean, one time, let me just tell you, like there was a Chevra Kedisha, there was a person that they were taking to Eretz Yisrael to be buried. So there was some Hasidim, that they do the Chevra Kedisha. They're very used to doing this. So and the person that passed away, the family sent one of the local rabbis to go along with them. So these two Hasidim are like schmoozing on the plane, and they're like, they're like schmoozing. They're like, and then one of them said to the other, he said, "Hey, Yankel, did you check the mace? Did you check the mace? Did he have a visa, or no?" So then the other guy was like, "Yeah, I checked. He's got a visa." So then the rabbi was like, "Come on, guys, someone passed away. Why are you talking like this? It's not nice. You know what I mean? Like, little respect." So he says, Yankel, he doesn't understand. He says, when he's asking me, does he have a visa? He's asking if he has numbers on his arm. And a visa means, does he have a visa into Gan Eden, that he doesn't need any tikkunim, he goes straight to Gan Eden. It's a person that's been through that Gehenna, he doesn't need to go through Gehenna. Anyway, so the Breslov Rebbe was once, it was mamish it was in the times of the Holocaust, and they had a whole line of Yidden, like Korbanos. There was like a huge pit, mamish, a huge pit, and the Nazis, Yimach Shemam, they made a thing that those soldiers, they were in a certain mood that they wanted to play a nasty test, that if you were able to jump over this like, huge pit that's like not shaykh to jump over, it's like a joke, then you can survive. And if not, we'll shoot you and that'll be your burial place. One after another, people are being buried. And the Breslov Rebbe is on the line. He's standing on the line, and there's a Yid behind him. And the Yid starts, he starts asking Rabbi, what are we supposed to do? This, that. And the Breslov Rebbe's like, I don't know. We're just supposed to daven, just to yearn Hashem. This is it. Like mamish, just. And then he kept on shepherding, and it's like, okay, just like say, try to have kavanah, say Shema Yisrael. Like they're like he's trying to give him advice, and then one after another. So it comes time for the Breslov Rebbe, and he just closes his eyes. He says Shema Yisrael. He doesn't have any sophistication in his mind. He doesn't doubt Hashem for one moment. He puts himself completely in Hashem's arms. And the story is kachav. He said over the story that he opens his eyes after like a few minutes, and he opens his eyes, and he's like on the other side of the pit. Right? He didn't even jump. He just closed his eyes, he said Shema Yisrael, and then he opened his eyes. He's on the other side of the pit, and the guards were like yelling something in German, like, "How did that happen? Like, how did?" And then as the Breslov Rebbe opens his eyes, he turns around and he sees right next to him was that little chassid. Like he also like opens his eyes right at that moment. So then he's thinking, like, all of a sudden he looks at him, and the first thing he says is like, "How'd you get here?" So then he says, "Rabbi, I just held on to your gartel. I just closed my eyes and just held on to your garden, and that's why I'm here." So in a certain sense, we all want to, the Yom Adin, it's like a tremendous pachad, we're coming in front of Hashem, but we have to, it's needed that every single one of us, that we hold on to tzaddikim, that we ask them, before Rosh Hashana, that a person makes this connection, he makes a certain bond. And by the way, even just learning the Sefer of a Tzaddik makes a tremendous bond, let alone being there for Rosh Hashanah, but learning the Sefer of the Tzaddik. Like it says, when you learn the Sefer of a Tzaddik, the Tzaddik's lips are moving in the kever to your words that you're saying. So there's a tremendous connection there. So a person should nourish that. So in the merit of the tzaddikim, there's tremendous shefa that's coming in the world. That's Aleph. Yeah. Let's do another shtickle. The one under that. Test. Okay. Ikar derech ha-teshuva shemekablin ma'atzadik ha'emes beit pshituso. The main derech of teshuva that a person receives from the true tzaddik when he is acting simple, she'oz mamshich ha-chesed chinam hanal, at that time the complete love, the chesed chinam, the love without any boundaries, is coming into the world. Shehu bechinas otzar matnas chinam, which is the aspect of the treasure house of unearned gifts, that he's now transferring that into the world. Who, the main derech to that is she'oz meir b'Yisrael d'rochav amitim leitnaig rak b'tzmimus u'b'pshitus. The whole purpose of this is in order to enlighten us that us as Jewish people, that we're supposed to conduct ourselves with simplicity and sincerity. Be'emes u'be'emuna shlema, in truth with complete faith. Beli shum chachmos klal, without any sophistication whatsoever. You should know, one time I was in Uman, and I saw, if you go to the Klois, there's a minyan, there's a downstairs, there's the Sephardi minyan, and upstairs is a big, like, Nusach Sfard, a big Ashkenaz minyan. And also has tons of Sephardim them too, it's a big cholent. So anyway, I was once there, and you see your Zoche, if you look around a little bit, you see tremendous Ovdei Hashem. Guys that really, they serve the king, they're mamish servants, we think we're servants. We look around, we're like, wow, this guy, the way they yearn, it's unbelievable. Sometimes I just take a few minutes just to watch. There's people that you see yearn, and it's like, it's a big deal. It's mamish, like they're mamish yearning from the bottom of their heart. It's an unbelievable feeling. So one of them that I was watching was very special, looking chassid. That afterwards, I knew somehow he's a special guy, and he's probably giving chizuk to a lot of people. So when the minyan was over, I saw him outside, and he was talking to a few Bali Tshuva, right? He's talking to a few Jews that are starting, they're initiating their connection with Hashem. And I saw this over Hashem, and I passed by, and he caught my eye. Like he saw me for a second looking at him, and all of a sudden he jumps up, he moves the guy. He's like, maybe you could tell us something. You could tell us like a vart. You could tell us like a short of our Torah or something. And I was in this the mood that I was, and I told, like, listen, I'll tell you one short thing that I was thinking, and I'll leave you with that. What was I thinking? I told him that it says that when Rabbi Nassan of Breslov, when he first came to Rabbi Nachman, it says that he said that he's going to take everything, all that he had in his mind, all of the chachmas that he's accumulated over the years. He's going to take all of his sophistication, the way he understands how things works and everything, his whole wiring, and he's just going to leave it mamish at the doorstep. He's going to leave it outside the door, and he's going to enter into Rabbeinu completely fresh. Show me the way, completely. And I was saying, I was like, to that degree that we can let go of our seichel, of our perspective of what the world is, how the world works. To that degree, we can receive the light of the tzaddik. The more you make a vacated space, the more the light will shine inside of you. So this guy was like, you don't understand. He's like, we should mamish dance just because of that vart. Right? Just because of that word. And all of a sudden, we made like a little circle. I was like, okay, that's nice, beautiful, gewaldig. We made a circle on Rosh Hashana. All of a sudden, the circle got bigger, and more people started getting involved. People were passing by, they got involved, until mamish, there's this huge circle going on in Uman on Rosh Hashana. Like Rav Meyer Morgenstern was passing by, he got involved. We started dancing around him, and it was like unbelievable, just from a simple. And what's the vort? Like this unbelievable simcha comes in. The vort is simplicity, just to be able to remove all the clutter in our lives. People you talk to, as I'm growing up, I'm telling you, as a kid, these like old Persian people that give me advice, I'm telling you, if you want success, this is what you need to do, and all these pointers, and it's unbelievable how much information has gotten into our head, how much people view us, how we view ourselves as being viewed by other people. It's like, all this is sophistication. Just to be simple, take the words of the tzaddik, mamish on Rosh Hashana, just to be with Hashem, to move all the clutter, to have emunah, to just daven. These are the things, right, that the whole Yiddishkeit is based on. So therefore, he says over here, Ki oz hakol shavin. So he says, oz ikar avoda shel kol Yisrael b'pshitus. He says, really, therefore on Rosh Hashana and Aseres Yimei Tshuva, oz ikar ha'avoda shel kol Yisrael b'pshitus u'b'tmimus gadol. This is the main avoda of us, that we should be simple. We shouldn't get into distractions or discourage ourselves in any way. Just simple. Even if a person, I'll tell you, even if a person hasn't, let's say he was planning that this Elul should be different, and he made a lot of resolutions that this is what he's going to do, and let's say if it didn't work out, fine. Another message of simplicity is, so what? So you start again, big deal. That's also another power of simplicity. The Yetzer Hara makes a person think they're like, oh, you messed up. The Yetzer Hara is called a zaken, an elderly. He's an old fool. That's what the Zohar calls him. Why? Because he says, oh, you were supposed to do this. What happened? You didn't keep your promise. You know what I mean? And it's like this voice of discouragement of look what you did and look what you messed up. Person, he's supposed to, with simplicity, like children. I'm telling you, mamish, like my little kid, my little Nachman, he could fall, he could something could happen, he's crying, this, that. One second he could be crying, we just had to take him for a checkup today to the doctor. He could be crying, mamish, the doctor's putting something in my ear, it's the scariest thing in the world. Then the next second, it's okay, he's giggling again. We should learn from that, from children, a certain simplicity that you move on. Person, even if, it says in Torah Vav, the Rebbe said, has to do with the kavanas, we're learning the past 2 weeks, the kavanas of Elul. And Torah Vav speaks about when the person hears his bizyonos, when he hears his disgrace, his embarrassment, that he can be silent to that and connect that silence to Hashem. So on a deeper realm, this also means for now that even if your Elul wasn't going the way you planned it to, so it's a bizayon, no? It's a disgrace. You feel embarrassed, like Hashem. Wow, look, it's Elul. Look where I'm holding. So you can take that silence, connect that to Hashem. So Hashem, I'm going to start again right now. I'm going to try. It is what it is. I'm going to start. I'm going to keep my place. I'm going to stand outside the palace and I'm going to beg for you to open the doors. I'm going to be happy right here, actually, outside the palace. I'm going to pitch a tent right here, I'm going to make little hot dogs. I'm going to chill. I'm good right here, outside the palace. If Hashem, someday you want to open the doors, great. That'll be great. I'll love to be inside the palace with you. That's our job. We're supposed to keep our post. The rest, let Hashem do. Without sophistication. Not to get into chachmas. Simplicity. Right? That's the avoda right now. That's what he's saying. Oz ikar ha'avoda shel kol Yisrael bipshitus. The ikar avoda should be simplicity. Ubetmimus gamur. Ki oz hakol shavin el ha'emes. Because that's when everyone's coming to the truth. Umispalelin v'tzoakin Hashem Yisbarach. Everyone's davening. Everyone's crying out to Hashem. Me'omek halev, from the essence of their hearts. Bipshitus bitmimus, with tremendous simplicity, with tremendous sincerity. In all these yeshivas, places of, actually, I'll tell you, a lot of shuls that throughout the year, not this chasram, I don't want to say anything makatrik, God forbid, people are in a rush, they're mamish rushing, people feel like they're in a rush, right? Unfortunately. Sometimes we don't realize that, the main thing is to connect to Hashem. People are just constantly running. But however, when it comes to Rosh Hashana, when it comes to Yom Kippur, when it comes to Aseret Yemei Tshuva, you see a little bit of a tone of even people, I'm telling you, I saw people like Baalei Batim that how, it's unbelievable how fast they're saying davening throughout the year. It's wow, how do you breathe during davening? It's unbelievable. Sometimes you could mamish, you could you could cough, you lose your place, they're flying so fast. When it comes to Rosh Hashana, you see people scream. You see people, stand there, like Hashem Elokim, Hamelech, they're taking their time to realize, right, the most important things in life. That's simplicity. That's sincerity. Beli shum chachmus, without any sophistication, without any agenda. Umavakshim rak matnas chinam, and we ask from Hashem, a free gift. Not that we deserve it. We don't deserve anything, right? We probably deserve, we're in the minus probably, right? But just from your complete, free treasure house of free gifts. As we mentioned this in many prayers. I'll do the last piece over here on Yud Aleph. Asara ma'amoros v'aseres hadibros kedushos shebe'eretz Yisrael hakol b'chinas achas. He says over here, Reb Nosson reveals, based on what the Rebbe says in Torah Ayin Zayin, that you should know one thing, that the 10 utterances of creation correspond exactly to the 10 commandments that were received. It was really the same thing. It was just in a more developed sense. The Eser Kedusha Sheberetz Yisrael, and the 10 levels of holiness in the Holy Land in Eretz Yisrael. Hakol Bechina Achas. It's all like one aspect, right? Ubazeh anu oskim ba'aseres yemei tshuva. This is what we are involved in the 10 days of tshuva. Lahotzi haTorah me'ahelem. We said, remember that Rabbi Nachman asked the question, how could the world exist before the Torah was given? He says that it must mean, the truth is there was Torah, but it was hidden. And it was all in the form of complete free love, free gift. Hashem was keeping the world. But there was Torah, it was just hidden. Reb Nosson's explaining that means that the Aseres HaDibros, the 10 Commandments, was in a form, in a sense, in the world through the 10 utterances of creation. Meaning the Torah was within the world before the Torah was given. So what we're doing during Aseres Yemei Tshuva, we are trying to take out Lahotzi HaTorah Me'ahelem Ela Gilui. We're trying to unveil the Torah, that how it's hidden in our lives, to bring it to the forefront. The will of Hashem, the power of Torah and mitzvot in our lives, we're trying to elevate that. Hainu lahamshich aleinu, meaning, and in a sense, to draw upon us HaChesed Chinam, the complete free, the treasure house of free gifts. She'al Yodo Nivra Ha'olam, that through this the world was created. V'nitkayem ba'asara ma'amorot, and the world is in existence with the 10 utterances. Ulagalot Kedushat Aseret Hadibrot, and to reveal the holiness of the 10 commandments. Shehayu ne'lomim b'tchila ba'asara ma'amorot, that was hidden with the 10 utterances of creation. Shal yidei kol zeh zochin leilech v'lavo l'chol ha'eser kedusha sheberetz Yisrael, that through this we can go and now elevate and connect to the 10 levels of holiness of Eretz Yisrael. V'al kein b'yom kippur nichnas ha'kohen gadol lifnai v'lifnim. Therefore, on Yom Kippur, the Kohen Gadol, a human being, enters into the inner chambers of Hashem, the Lifnai v'Lifnim, into the Kodesh HaKodashim. And what was in the Kodesh HaKodashim? Limakom ha'aron va'luchot. The Aron and the Luchot were there, right, which is the 10 Commandments, the Aseret HaDibrot. She'omed al even shetia, that stands upon the stone, the Evan Shesiyah, that the stone that Hashem created the world from. Shesham Tachlit HaKedusha Elyona Shel Kol HaEser Kedusha Shel Eretz Yisrael, that over there is the Tachlis of the holiness, of the divine holiness of the 10 levels of Eretz Yisrael. That is the avoda, mamish, coming to that place of simplicity, of sincerity within us, not looking for anything else, not looking for any ulterior motive. That's the main thing. On Rosh Hashana, the Zohar says, people that are asking for their own needs, right? They're mamish, looking to grab and to take into their lives. In a certain sense, it's viewed from the heavens, it's viewed in a very negative way, like the aspect, like dogs that say, have, give, that I want to take for myself. The main path of healing that we can receive on Rosh Hashanah is through just simplicity, moving out any ulterior motives, connecting to Hashem in a simple, sincere way, Mirz Hashem, and yearning just to connect Him, just to make Him King in my life. Because if I focus on the King in my life, if I make Hashem the Melech in my life, I can therefore connect my machshava, I can purify my machshava, and all the brachot come from the machshava into one's life, into all the areas of one's life. So on Rosh Hashana, it's called Rosh, when I take that aspect of the Rosh, and I take my mind, And if I can connect to Rosh B'nai Yisrael, to the highest tzaddik at that time, all these Roshes together, there's a certain power that from the Rosh comes all the other blessings in one's life, all the other movements, everything that takes place throughout the year is being plugged in, microcosmed in that time on Rosh Hashana. So therefore on Rosh Hashana I just want to be full of love and sweetness and simplicity. Not to get into detail so much. That's why it's also brought down. The Rebbe says that on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, especially if someone holds himself to be somewhat chashuv, like not to really get into speech. The certain tzaddikim, they wouldn't even speak the first day of Rosh Hashanah at all until after when the shofar was blown. But to reduce from speech, to keep things simple, not to get into details, just to focus on Hashem, to yearn on Hashem. Always think good. The Ben Ish Chai says, to eat sweet things on Rosh Hashanah. It's a very special thing. Not, he says, in Baghdad they would stay away from sour things, meaning that nothing should be sour, everything should be pleasant. Not to get insulted by anybody, chas v'shalom. To let things go, to be mavater, everything is good. Like one year in Uman, it was a big mix-up with the food cards. We didn't know who's going where. So me and my friend, we were like mamish looking around where to find a meal, and we were like on this dark valley, And then all of a sudden my friend's like, this is gavaldik. He just smiled. He gave me a hug. He's like, this is mamish, so unbelievable, no? And I just started laughing. I was like, yeah, it's gavaldik, because you could bring the light of Hashem. You could bring the light of simcha anywhere in your life. You just have to mamish tap in. You have to let that light come in. It's many stories that we can capture, an aspect of this. It says by Rabbi Yitzchak of Berditchev, Rabbi Yitzchak ben Sarah Sasha, he was a person that constantly looked to defend Am Yisrael. And not only defend Am Yisrael, he looked to defend and to sweeten the judgments upon every individual. And it's such a powerful thing to be able to tap into that avoda, like especially during this time and on Rosh Hashana. And Rabbi Yitzchak, he used to see a Jew. It says that let's say some Hasidim in Berditchev would pass by, they would see a Jew with his tefillin on, and he was like, simple wagon driver, and he was fixing his wagon, and he still had his tefillin on. He was running out of minyan. He was fixing his wagon. So the Hasidim were like, look at this guy. He doesn't appreciate the kedusha of tefillin. So then, right after that, Rabbi Yitzchak came out and he looked at this yid. He's like, wow. And then he turned to Hashem. He's like, you see, even when a Jew is fixing his wagon, he still doesn't want to let go of his tefillin. He just pushed himself just to look at the good within Am Yisrael. Not that he had to push himself. That was natural. That's what his gaze was, a gaze of simplicity and sincerity. That every single one of us is really trying to connect to Hashem. And you could view people like that in the street too. I'm telling you, you could mamish see people, they're driving around, sometimes you see someone like driving on Shabbos, blasting music, Rahman al-Islan, so then how's the way to look at him? He's trying to run to the Or Ein Sof. He really just wants to run to Hashem. He wants to mamish run. He doesn't know how to. He's running that way. It's really that way, but but he's running. You know what I mean? We all have to run. You know what I mean? It's an unbelievable thing. You could find Nekudas Tovas within everyone, and from doing that, the Rebbe says you could bring tremendous light into the world. It's not only an avoda that's reserved for Rabbi Yitzchak of Berditchev, but every single one of us. And during this time of Elul, Rosh Hashanah, to really to be able to transfer that into our lives, to be able to do that, Mitzvah Hashem, and to come out of all of the sophistications, all of the imaginations that the Yetzer Hara has put in our minds, that how, what Hashem is doing to us and this, that, but to be able to look at not only ourselves in a good light, in a positive light, but to be able to look at HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a good light, in a positive light, and that this relationship between Hashem and Am Yisrael, between the Shechina and Kudsha Brichu should be healed, and Mirz Hashem, we should be zochet to come to that time, Vaya Bayom Ahu Yeh Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad, that everyone, Mirz Hashem, in this room, also specifically, Mirz Hashem, B'schus Rabbeinu, we should all see in our lives this coming year. It should be a year of salvation on all levels, on all the 10 different levels, and in Mirz Hashem, for everyone, it should be a geula bichlal and ubifrat, specifically and individually. All the best.